The Iceman, the past, the present, forever. All right, everybody, it's a Tuesday afternoon. How's everybody doing? With the release or non-re-signing of Justin Roberts' contract for the WWE Raw ring announcer, there's been rumors flying about that the WWE is going to bring back Howard Finkel. Now, I, for one, would like to see Lillian Garcia go back to Raw. I think Lillian Garcia has been the best ring announcer since Howard Finkel, but not to say Justin Roberts did a great job. Absolutely did a great job, and it's unfortunate for him not to still be with the WWE. And I don't understand their issues, but anyway, the WWE seems to make rules as they go along. And one of the things that I have an issue with the WWE is when Daniel Bryan was champion and he could no longer wrestle, the authority came out, especially Stephanie McMahon, stating the fact, well, if you can't wrestle within the 30-day period, we're taking the belt. We're going to strip you of the title. And eventually, he had to turn over the belt. Now, the scenario here with Brock Lesnar. Night of Champions, what? He didn't win? Well, he did win by DQ, um, but it left a lot of things open. Now, supposedly, we're not going to see him for the rest of the year. So, where is Stephanie McMahon to come out and say, Brock or Paul Heyman, you don't defend the title within 30 days, we're going to strip you of the belt? My point being, the WWE makes rules as they go along for different superstars, and it gets to the point where, um, really, if you're not gonna strip Brock Lesnar of the belt, get rid of the rule because any true wrestling fan knows of these rules that have been watching wrestling for a long period of time, knows, you know, the way the world of wrestling does actually uh, move on. And everybody knows that if you're not defending your title for 30 days, you should lose your belt. We've seen it so many times in the past. So my point being, WWE needs to really um, finalize this issue and really make a statement about it. Um, I don't think it should be at their discretion whether or not someone has to defend a title or be stripped of it. I think rules should apply to all that are involved, and WWE is basically catering to Brock Lesnar as well. We've seen them do in the past with The Rock. We've seen them do it with The Undertaker. Um, but this is where I have the problem with the WWE. You cater to these certain stars, you pay them big money, you have guys on that roster that are eager to get into the spotlight. They're eager to showcase their talents on live TV, and yet you still refuse to put them on there. But you'll put on a man dressed in a bunny outfit or Hornswoggle dressed as an alligator or a midget or a miniature man dressed as a bull. One has to wonder, um, with all the talk of the WWE, we just saw The Rock recently. Stone Cold Steve Austin's supposed to be at WrestleMania 31. Hogan's been on TV. Now there's talk of Howard Finkel coming back maybe as ring announcer. Everybody's saying, this is the present day. Don't live in the past. How can you not live in the past in the world of professional wrestling when the WWE is reaching back and bringing these guys back on a constant basis? and not utilizing the talent that they already have on their roster. So I have issues with that. Um, a lot of people are really uh, insulting Monday Night Raw. I thought Raw was a pretty good show overall. Um, I would like to see less of Stephanie and Triple H, to be honest with you. Sometimes I think their segments are very meaningless. They try to be funny at times. To me, they're not funny. I think they're just ignorant. Um, I think the show can move on without them being on constantly. Yeah, if you want to come out for maybe a 2 or 3 minute segment once a week, fine, but don't um, show up 2 or 3 times during a night, interrupt matches or interrupt maybe argument segments or anything like that. Um, Let the show just move on. Um, it, I still am trying to you know try to justify the reasons for the things that the WWE has done, and I honestly have failed to do so. I cannot come up with any concrete, evidence or information as to, you know, if you don't wrestle for 1 or 2 months and you have the title, why do you get to keep it when somebody else loses it just recently as earlier this year? Um, Is there favoritism in the WWE? Hell yes. There definitely is favoritism. Um, and I think part of the issue is because we all sit back and we accept it. Um, we we know it's just entertainment and whatnot, but we also know that the show could be better if sometimes the WWE actually listened to us fans. Um, do I think the Dean Ambrose push is because of us fans? It possibly could be. Dean Ambrose right now, I think, is probably the most popular superstar in the WWE. And if you don't take that to the moon and let it pay off, then you're pretty darn stupid. Um, like the match last night, if John Cena was to beat Dean Ambrose, that would have shot down that whole push. So I think the WWE was right in doing what they did and have Dean Ambrose come out on top in this match and finally be able to end his feud with Seth Rollins at Hell in a Cell in the cage. Now, with all that being said, those two are going to wrestle in a cage, and we also know that Cena and Orton are going to wrestle in the cage as well. Let me ask you this: who will main event Hell in the Cell? Because we all know many times they never had two back-to-back Hell in a Cell matches. So who will be on earlier in the show and who will main event? My thoughts, my opinion, if I were the WWE, I would give it to Ambrose and Rollins. If you want to make new stars, you let them close out the show. What do I think will happen? I think John Cena and Randy Orton will probably close out the show, and I think that's going to tick off a lot of fans. I could be wrong, but this is what I think should happen. So we'll just have to wait and see at the end of this month at Hell in the Cell pay-per-view. Um, not taking anything away from Orton and Cena because they are two of the biggest superstars the WWE has had in a very long time. But I think it's time for two other guys to main event the show. And obviously, without the presence of Brock Lesnar, you know, this would be a major, major push for both Ambrose and Rollins. Who I think will win, I'll tell you another time. This is the Iceman on this Tuesday afternoon. Main event tonight. Baseball playoffs today. We'll see y'all next time.